Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for joining. So today we are doing a Bhagavad Gita overview, starting from chapter 1 and try to go as far as we can. Uh, in real classes, we have completed till chapter 14 and we have to start chapter 15. So we have to do overview until chapter 14. So just to remind ourselves of what has been going on so far, I thought it's good to just summarize everything from the first chapter, the key concepts, the main instructions given by Krishna in each chapter. We'll take those and see what the flow of Bhagavad Gita is like till chapter 15. And then when we have more audience, more devotees joining, then we can start from chapter 15. So so just before we start from chapter 1, I know Raksha Mataji is new here.
Rekha.
Oh, sorry, Rekha Mataji. I'm sorry. I've been calling you Raksha even yesterday. I'm sorry. Rekha
That's
Mataji.
okay.
So Mataji will just talk about what is Bhagavad Gita, okay, and why we are reading it.
Okay.
What is the importance of this in our life today?
Okay.
So, Bhagavad Gita is one of our core scriptures, right? It is called the essence of all the Vedas, meaning that all
Okay.
the knowledge that is there, all the spiritual knowledge, all the material knowledge, even all the knowledge that is compiled in the Vedas by Vyasadev, Bhagavad Gita is called the essence of all that knowledge. So, it is the nectar taken from the Vedas. It is the summary of all the Vedic knowledge. And in our life, which is very short, especially in this Kali Yuga, it is said in Bhagavatam that our intelligence is very poor, we are very lazy, we are very quarrelsome, we have a lot of conflicts, a lot of things that preoccupy our mind, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
distractions, whether at work, at family, with our health, with our uh, atmosphere around us. There is a lot of problems around us. So, in this condition, it is very difficult for us to read the Vedas or try to understand the full spiritual knowledge. So, in such an environment, especially for the jivas of Kali Yuga, Krishna came just before the Kali Yuga was about to start. At the end of Dwapar Yuga, Krishna came, right, in his original form, in his most beautiful form, as in his bluish blackish, like a freshly formed monsoon cloud, the Shyam Sundar form. He came and gave this knowledge to re-establish the Vedic knowledge. He gave this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, especially for the souls of Kali Yuga, who are so disturbed, who are so conflicted all the time, that they will benefit from this summary study of the Vedas, right? They'll get the nectar, they'll
Mm-hmm.
get the essence, because we don't need to, because Vedas give us all different types of paths. They give us paths of demigod worship, of various rituals and various ceremonies that can be performed according to various rules and regulations. We don't have time in our life to follow different paths and to explore different rituals and perform all kind of ceremonies. So what can we do? So Krishna said, I will give you this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, and if you just understand this knowledge, he keeps saying this repeatedly in multiple chapters of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that if you just understand this knowledge, you will come back to me. In every few verses, he gives the formula for not only living a comfortable life while you are here on this planet, but also when you leave this body and you die, what happens to you? Where do you go? And he reassures us, he assures us over and over again that you will come back to me if you understand this knowledge and apply it in your life. And that is what we are doing here. We are trying to understand the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and trying to apply it in our life on a daily basis. On actually every minute, we are trying to apply this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, right? And those that have been applying it as per the instructions of Krishna, okay, they see changes happening in their life. They see that how their life is transforming, how not only their material condition improves, but also the way back to Godhead is becoming much more and more clear. with every step. So again, another verse comes in Srimad Bhagavatam that for ordinary people, every year, every day, every time we celebrate our birthday, right, we are getting one day closer to death. Everybody is getting one day closer to death, right? Ordinary people are
Mm-hmm.
getting closer to death, no doubt, right? Time is running, and
Yeah.
with every day we are aging, we are advancing towards our death, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those that have this knowledge and are applying this knowledge in their life, with every passing day, they are not heading towards death, they are heading towards eternal life. So that is the difference between an ordinary person and a person who is understanding this knowledge and applying this knowledge in their life, that they are not heading towards death with every passing day, every passing minute. They are heading towards Krishna. They are heading towards eternal spiritual life. Okay. So Krishna, in almost every few verses in Bhagavad Gita, tells us how to come back to him. He says, if you do this, Arjun, you will come back to me. If you do that, Arjun, you will come back to me. If you do this, you will not have to take birth in this material world again. This material world is dukkhalyam. It is house of miseries. It is temporary and it is house of miseries. It is anityam, asukham lokam. There is no sukh in this material world. So don't stay here. He keeps saying, come back to me. And so if we read this Bhagavad Gita, because you are, for example, my dad is here or Rekha Mataji is here, you're wondering, why should I waste my time sitting here trying to understand this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita when I could be reading a novel, I could be watching a movie, I could be watching a game of cricket, I could go out with my friends, right? I could do some unfinished work. But all those things are very, very temporary, very, very small, very, very mundane and material when the eternal life is at stake, right? So if
Right.
you understand that the goal of this human life is to go back to Krishna and achieve and go back home. When we are, let's say you are stranded on an island, it is uncomfortable there. It is, you don't have food there, you don't have clothes there, the weather is not good, and you're just longing to go back home. Bhagavad Gita gives you that longing, because right now we are sitting here, we don't even understand that we have to go back home. Bhagavad Gita tells us who we are, who is Krishna, so who is Jiva, who is Krishna, and what is the connection between the two. Okay, who is the soul, who is the God or the Lord, what is the connection between the two, and how can Jiva travel to the Lord? What is the journey from this life to an eternal life? That is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. And in this age, people may say, oh, it was spoken 5,000 years ago. This knowledge is not applicable to us. Actually, this knowledge was given for this age. This knowledge is applicable to us more than it was applicable to Arjuna. Because if you understand the context of Bhagavad Gita was spoken on a battlefield, right? Where the war was going on. People were fighting all around. Arjuna was having to kill his own relatives, his own family members, his own grandfather that he loved so much, Bhishma Pitama, right? So, and some people may say, um, we are not old, we are not sannyasis, we are in a grahast life, we are in grahast ashram, we are a householder. This knowledge does not apply to us. Okay. So I will prove both those points wrong. The first point being that this knowledge is not applicable in this age because it is 5,000 years since the knowledge was given. Well, the knowledge was given on battlefield, and right now, is there a battle going on in all our hearts and mind or no? Are we always
Yes.
conflicted? Are we always worried, anxious, uh, baffled by so many things? For example, very small thing like corona, a small microscopic virus that we cannot even see, baffled everybody, right? Then there is a war going on. Then there is, if there is not a war, then there is some disease or some famine or some natural disaster going on, right? There is always something or the other going on, right? So there is a war going on around us, and if not around us, within us at all times. Okay, so we are on the same battlefield that Arjun was when Krishna gave him that knowledge. So this knowledge is very much applicable to us because his fight, his war was actually external. Our war, our fight is very subtle, which cannot even be seen. It's not with weapons, it's actually with our own anarthas. We are fighting a war with our own greed and lust and anger and this enjoyer mentality that we just want to enjoy this world. These are our anarthas, with sinful tendencies. So we are at war with different kind of demons. Arjun was at war with Duryodhan, but we are at war with so many other Duryodhanas. So we need this knowledge to fight this battle. And secondly, why this knowledge is applicable even though we are a householder, we are not in renounced order of life, we are not a brahmachari or a sannyasi. But Arjun was not a brahmachari or a sannyasi. Arjun was a householder, right? Krishna was himself a householder who was giving this knowledge. He had 16,108 wives. Arjun had so many wives, right? So they were also grahasthas. They had so many duties. Arjuna was going to make his brother the king and rule alongside him. So they had so many royal duties to take care of. They had to handle a whole kingdom. So they were grahasthas of the highest order, actually, even bigger grahasthas than we are. So as a householder, this knowledge is very, very important to us. So that is why this 1.5 2 hours that you spend on Sunday morning, um, it is not like any other mundane materialistic act that you do. It is not the same as watching cricket. It is not the same as going to a show or watching a movie or going to a play or reading a novel. This Bhagavad Gita is on a spiritual platform. Okay, so that is the relevance of Bhagavad Gita in today's world. Okay, so with that, let's start with um, chapter 1. Would anyone like to share anything before we start with the first chapter and a quick overview of everything?
Hare Krishna. Um, Again, thank you for Rekha Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna. Welcome again. Um,
Thank you.
Anybody, if you or anyone has any specific questions regarding to Bhagavad Gita, you can ask now so that when Natasha is discussing the overview, she can touch on those questions and try to answer them from the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita up till now. So please go ahead, and if there's something that you have a doubt about, or you're thinking, oh, I would like to know this, you can mention it now, or we can talk about as we are going also. But that ways it will help in pointing the discussion in that direction.
Uh, the only thing is that I'll have to leave at 10:30. So I just want to let you all know.
Yeah, we should be done around by that time anyways.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji, we'll be
I'm on
done
a
by
Zoom
then.
meeting.
We'll
Okay.
try to cover
Okay.
as much as we can and we'll go a little fast. So there may be many questions, especially if this is the first reading of Bhagavad Gita.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
but we can address them. As you keep listening, you will start understanding more and more, and Krishna will start revealing more and more to you. So just
Okay.
join us patiently for a few sessions, and things will become much
Oh,
more clear
yes,
very, very.
definitely.
Yeah.
And you can put it in chat also, and then we can even share some relevant videos so you can watch it later on also in your own time.
Okay.
Whenever you have a chance, you can just look at those.
Okay.
Okay, Hari Bol. So this is the
Haribol.
first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It is called Observing the Armies. Okay. So the Bhagavad Gita opens when Arjun was looking at the armies. He was looking at the army on his side and army on the opposite side, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And he was he suddenly came into this bewilderment. He saw all his family members standing up opposite to him. He saw his grandfather there, his teacher there, and many other teachers, and his cousins and sons of his relatives, and so many people there that he did not want to kill. Right? He did not want to fight with them. So when he saw all these people, he suddenly came into this confusion. Why am I doing this? So, sometimes we go into confusion. Why am I doing a certain thing? So that is where Bhagavad Gita opens. Okay, the first chapter is about observing the armies. And if you know a little bit about Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra is the father of the Kauravas, right? And he is hearing. So you remember that he was blind, but he wanted to see and hear what is going on the field, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He wanted to, participate in the war, not directly, but sitting from far, wanted to observe everything. So he was given this mystic divine vision by Vedvyas, who is actually his elder brother in a way. And he was not elder brother, not his, but his Bhishma Pitama's brother. And he was given this vision by Vedvyas that you can see what is going, you can hear from his charioteer Sanjay about what is going on the battlefield. And charioteer Sanjay is reciting the Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. The first verse opens when Dhritarashtra asks Sanjay, tell me what is going on the field. So this is a very famous verse actually, most of the kids have memorized. धरम क्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे संवेतायुयुत्सवा मामका पांडवाश्चैवा kim akurvat sanjaya. So he's saying on the dharam kshetra kurukshetra. This first verse itself tells you the conclusion of this war. It tells you what will happen on this war. Why? Because the Kurukshetra, where the war is being fought, is referred to as dharam kshetra. Dhritarashtra himself admits that this Kurukshetra is the battlefield of dharma, where the dharma will be decided. Okay, and he already understands that dharma is not on his side. He already knows that dharma is on the side of Pandavas. Okay, so by that understanding, if this is dharma kshetra, the dharma of being on the side of Pandavas, Pandavas will be victorious, because Kurukshetra being such a holy land, dharma has to win. Dharma cannot lose because it is dharma kshetra, and if dharma is on the side of Pandavas, then the Pandavas will win, because they will be the upholder of the true religion. So he's asking, what are they doing gathering there? Mamaka Pandavascheva. Mamaka means my son, and Pandavas, Pandu's son. What are they doing? Kim akurvat Sanjaya, please tell me. So if you look at this line, Mamaka Pandavascheva, this line tells you about the envious nature of Dhritarashtra. It tells you immediately that Dhritarashtra is a very envious person. Why? Because he was supposed to take care of Pandu's sons as his own. He was supposed to bring them up and give them their rightful, whatever they were assigned. He was supposed to assign them rightfully, right? But he has a divisive mentality. He's saying mine. He's attached to his own sons. So he's saying my sons, Mamaka, my sons, versus Pandu's sons. So he's already creating a divide here, that my sons are different and Pandu's sons are different. I don't consider them one. So my sons and Pandu's sons, what are they doing? So he never considered Pandu's sons his own sons. And that is why he could never do proper justice to them. He was always very divisive and very envious of Pandu and his sons. And so when it came to giving them the rightful throne, rightful kingdom, he could never do justice to them. So even though so many injustices happened to Pandu's sons, you can keep counting them, starting from when Duryodhan tried to kill Bhim with the poisoned kheer, or when they put them along with their mother Kunti in the Lakshagraha, right, and tried to burn down the house, right? Dhritarashtra did not punish his sons in any of those atrocities they committed against the Pandavas, right? They committed offense after offense against the Pandavas, right? They tried to shame Pandavas in that horrible gambling match, right? Try to offend Mother Draupadi in such an abominable way, right? So, but after doing all these, and even after they came back from their Banvas and Agyatwas, they could not even give them a small village. Krishna said, give them each a small village to rule, because they're Kshatriyas, they need to rule. Give them a small village. They will not take Hastinapur, just give them a small village to rule, because that will fulfill their Kshatriya potency. But Duryodhan said, I will not even give a needle point worth of land to Pandavas. So that is how envious Duryodhan was. And by saying my sons and Pandu's sons, Dhritarashtra is showing his own enviousness as well. So Dhritarashtra is a person who is not only physically blind, he is also spiritually blind. He cannot see what true dharma is. He cannot see that how Pandavas are the pure devotees of the Lord, how Krishna, being the Lord himself, is siding on towards Pandavas. So he should also just surrender to the Lord and do Lord's wish. He's completely blind that way spiritually. And which all of us have some Dhritarashtra like mentality as well, right? enviousness, being spiritually blind, being attached to our family too much and our relations and various things that we think are mine, my sons, what are they doing? In this way, Bhagavad Gita starts from this verse. That one verse itself gives a lot of great insight into the character, the personality of Dhritarashtra. And then, later on in Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter, Duryodhan starts encouraging his army. He starts speaking to different people. He speaks to Dronacharya, he speaks to Bhishma Pitama, he starts boasting about his army. Look how strong my army is. Look, I have all these great warriors on my side, right? And then they all start blowing the conch shells, right? Then in Bhagavad Gita, Ved Vyas has very nicely mentioned all the various auspicious signs that could be seen on the side of Pandavas, right? He mentions that they blow conch shells. And he says, when Krishna and Arjuna blew their conch shells, right, it broke the heart of the Kauravas. It broke the heart of Duryodhan, which means that the sound was so loud that their confidence was shattered. Duryodhan was being very boastful. Look at my army. Look at this. I have amassed such a great army. And then when Krishna, Arjun, and others started blowing their conch shells, suddenly, Duryodhan and his and other people on his side, their hearts broke. It says, one of the verses says that. So that was an auspicious sign, blowing of the conch shells. The second sign, who can tell me from Bhagavad Gita what signs of auspiciousness are mentioned on the side of Pandavas, which tell you already where dharma lies? Maybe Navya, Nirbhay Prabhu. Yes, Ravi Prabhu wants to answer. Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, I went to get a water bottle. What is wrong with me?
Mataji, they had a Hanuman's flag on their chariot.
Yes. So the whole scene of the armies is being described, and they say Arjun in his white robes, beautiful white robes, is sitting on the chariot with his white horses, right? And there is a flag on the chariot, and the flag has Hanuman on it. Will Hanuman be on the side of adharma or dharma?
Dharma.
Dharma. So this is, and now Dhritarashtra knows all this. Hanumanji is sitting on the chariot with Arjuna. This is being described in Bhagavad Gita. So, and then Krishna is of course there on the chariot, right? So those who are devotees of the Lord, they knew that Krishna is the supreme Lord who has come to establish dharma. So that beautiful sight, Bhishma Pitama was watching that sight and getting mesmerized by it. He's looking at Arjun sitting there, and he's looking at Krishna sitting there, and he's beholding the sight. Bhishma Pitama, being the pure devotee of the Lord, beholding this beautiful sight. And when Bhishma Pitama prays, he says, I wish I could, when I leave my body, I just want to remember that sight when Krishna was driving the chariot as a Parth Sarthi, driving Arjuna. And I just want to behold that sight forever. And in this mood, I want to leave my body. That is the mood of a pure devotee. Whereas all these signs were also seen by Dhritarashtra. He knows that Krishna is sitting there and Hanumanji is on the chariot with Arjuna, but still thinking that my side will win, my Mamaka, my sons will win. But there were all these signs, auspicious signs being described. Then
question: Bhishma
yes.
Pitama was on the Kaurava side, but he was praising the scene, right?
Yeah, he was behold. He's there is a very big whole set of prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam of Bhishma Pitama's prayers. So Bhishma Pitama is one of the great Mahajans. There are 12 Mahajans, and he's one of the Mahajans, meaning he's pure devotee of the Lord. But he's right now in this pastime where Krishna is enacting this big pastime. He is playing an act of a worthy opponent to Krishna, right? Because if there is only Krishna and nobody on the side of Kauravas, nobody worthy enough, then the whole side will be finished within minutes. But they have to make this fight last for 18 days and teach many valuable lessons through this fight, many valuable lessons through this pastime. So Bhishma Pitama is playing this, you can say, an act of being on the opposite side with the Kauravas and acting as a worthy opponent, serving Krishna in Virya Ras. So devotees
Right.
serve Krishna in different rasas or mellows, and some people serve in friendship, some with conjugal love, some in parental mood, and Bhishma Pitama is serving by fighting with him. So this is Bhishma Pitama just beholding the scene, beautiful scene of Krishna being the Parthasarathi. So, so then as the chapter 1 moves forward, Arjun asks Krishna, Krishna, please drive my chariot to the middle of the field. I want to go to the middle of the field and observe both the armies. Okay, I want to look at both the sides. So till now, Arjun is very confident. Okay, Arjun is very sure of his decision to fight. But then, and right now, if you see, Arjun is instructing Krishna, you drive my chariot to the middle of the field. Do my wish. This is my wish, do this wish. Typically, this is what we do, right? I foresee my future as this. I want to become a doctor, so please make me a doctor. I want to score 100 marks on this test. Please, Krishna, give me 100 marks. We want Krishna to do our wish based on our temporary understanding, right? Right? So, Mataji, you were asking about surrender yesterday. The surrender
Right.
is not asking Krishna to do what you wish, telling Krishna, do whatever you think is good. Okay? Do
I see.
what you think will help me connect to you better. That is one aspect of surrender. Okay? Having full faith that Krishna will do the best. I do not impose my wish on Krishna. Krishna uses me as a puppet in his service and I become an instrument, nimit matra. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, nimit matra sabyasachi, that just become an instrument in my hands, O Arjun. So that is a surrender, become an instrument. Right now, Arjun, acting like an ordinary soul, is instructing Krishna to do his will. Go in the middle of the field and show me both the armies. So Krishna does that. Okay, let me show you. He drives the chariot to the middle of the field. And then Arjun looks at both the sides. Arjun looks at the Kaurava side. He looks at all these people. All these people who are his relatives, who he has grown up with, who he has loved, who he has spent time with, had so many pastimes with, so many charming and beautiful pastimes, right? And he is suddenly overcome with a lot of doubts. Okay, and there are 5 doubts, 5 reasons Arjun starts giving one after another why he should not fight in this war. He starts perspiring. He says, oh Krishna, my Gandhi is falling down from my hand. I'm shaking. His body starts trembling, not with fear. Arjun is fearless. It's not. Arjun is nirbhay. He's not. He has no fear. But it is the fear for his loved ones that I'm going to fight with these people and kill them. And for what? For a kingdom? And he starts giving many reasons. So we have to talk about those 5 main reasons that that Arjun gives to not fight. Why I should not fight in this war. So let's start with the first. And who will tell me the first reason? We have discussed this many times.
Navya wants to say, Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Navya.
Navya.
One is that some of the wives won't have any husbands anymore.
Okay, so that's one. Yes. So did everyone hear what Navya said?
That,
Okay.
go ahead.
So that basically there will be fall down of the society because a lot of people will be killed, a lot of men will be killed, and then their families or the dependents will not have anybody to depend on. And when that happens, then there is fall down in the society because you don't have the right leaders, or the women, the chastity of the women decreases and things like that. So they can be fall down of the society, or the dharma can be lost in the society when that happens. So that's what Navya mentioned.
Yes. So one of the reasons, what is the first reason? We'll discuss Navya's reason in a few minutes. What is the first reason Arjun gives? And if we're going in the flow of Bhagavad Gita, right? What is the first reason Arjun gives that I will not fight? He puts his bow down and he sits down on the chariot. Krishna, I will not fight. And he actually says this. If you want me to pull the verses, I'm going completely verse by verse. So what is I don't have the verses written down, so it's a little bit hard to say this. But here, My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on the end. My bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand. My skin is burning. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself. My mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen. So, what is this reason? The first reason of killing, of not
Bolo,
killing.
Mama. Yeah, Mama is saying.
Because they are my relatives, brothers, friends, all are in this people. I'm not to whom I'm going to kill. So I don't want to attack on my relatives, own relatives.
Yes,
Yes.
perfect. So the first reason is compassion. He's feeling very compassionate for his relatives. Imagine if you had to kill one of your own family member, how much compassion there would be, right? So he's feeling compassion, right? How can I kill my own kinsmen? My own, how can I um, kill my own friends and brother-in-law? Look at this, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, other relatives. How can I kill all these people? And also on my side, there are so many of my relatives, right? They will also die in the battle. It's not like people are only going to die on the opposite side. On my side also, all these, my teachers, oh Madhusudan, my teachers, fathers, son, grandfathers, maternal uncles, they'll all die. How can I kill them? Right? So that is one, compassion. The second reason he gives is that how can I enjoy anything? Once, even if we win the war, even if we get the kingdom after having lost so many relatives and everybody, how would I enjoy this royal opulences and everything? How would I enjoy this kingdom? So, because we do everything for benefit, right? I'm doing something so that it will benefit me, but it will not benefit me because I will not be able to enjoy this. Like, let's say somebody, there used to be an ad which would say, owner's pride, neighbor's envy, right? But there are no neighbors left to be envious. So how would I enjoy this? So I cannot enjoy anything. How can I take pride in this when my all my people will die, right? So in this way, he's saying no enjoyment. That is the second reason. The third reason he gives is, anybody wants to mention if you remember? Here. Yes, Avni.
He would get lot. He thought he would get lots of sinful reactions.
Yes. So you see here he says, if I kill these people, I'll get a lot of sin. I will incur a lot of sin. So far, I think everybody understands, right? If you think about it, it all sounds good. Why should I kill my own people? I'm feeling compassionate about them. How would I be able to enjoy anything once they are gone? Plus, I will get so much sin. I will have to suffer in hell. I will get so much reaction, hellish conditions after this life because I killed my own people. So, sinful reaction. Then comes the fourth reason, which Navya already mentioned, that the women will get polluted. What does that mean? Unwanted progeny will come, degradation of womanhood. Because there are so many men fighting in this war, all their wives, their sisters, their dependent women will lose their the male guardian in the house, right? So though, typically after war it happens that the women may get exploited, right? They will not have any means to provide for their family, for their children, and for their dependents. So they may have to take to objectionable means to raise their kids, and they may have to go out of house and work and do many things that were objectionable at the time. So there will be degradation of the family. It is called destruction of the family traditions. The culture, the society, the culture in the society is made by elderly people. Elderly people will die. Elderly people are the ones that teach us religion, that teach us proper culture and traditions. But when elderly people will die, there will not be any culture, any tradition. People will not celebrate any festivals. That nice environment of the house is created by the full family, but the families are getting destroyed. So destruction of family tradition, right? So when there is only woman left to take care of her dependents, it will be such a hard life for that person, right? So there will not be any celebrations, any hope for spiritual advancement, and just completely material degradation will happen. So this is called destruction of family tradition. So he did not want to put the family of all these soldiers and all these warriors through so much destruction. So destruction of family tradition will happen. Then unwanted people will come, right? Unwanted progeny means these people that will grow up, they will not have any education, any culture, and they will become thieves and robbers and live through objectionable means. So destruction of family tradition. So if you see here, he says unwanted population or progeny will come, and they will destroy the family tradition. Ancestors will fall down, and basically all the cultural activities will stop. Okay, and these are the 4 reasons given in the first chapter. The 5th reason Arjun will give in the next chapter. And then you see Sanjay said, Arjun, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So he said that he sat down, his mind was overwhelmed with grief, and he's not ready to fight. Okay. So before Krishna starts speaking, let's go to second chapter. Krishna is not spoken yet. Okay. In the first chapter, Krishna has not really spoken yet. Only Arjun is talking. He's giving his various reasons why not to fight this war. And we are getting an idea of how the 2 armies are standing. Their chariot is standing in the middle, and Bhagavad Gita has not started actually yet. So now the second chapter starts. Second chapter is the contents of Gita summarized. We are going a little fast, if that's okay, because we are just, it's a quick overview. It is not a detailed study. Detailed study we do typically in general. So in this way, Arjun, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears. Now Krishna says, what does Krishna say? Okay. So Krishna now chastises Arjun. Okay. Now Arjun and Krishna will have a dialogue. Okay. The whole Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue, but Krishna starts chastising Arjuna. He will scold Arjuna. Okay. And Arjun will still try to negotiate with him. He'll keep negotiating why I should not fight this war. Okay. How is Krishna chastising? He says that you are such a gentleman. You are such a cultured, spiritually elevated person. How did you get this petty weakness of the heart? This is not befitting such a great Kshatriya, such a great warrior who is so advanced in spiritual knowledge. You are able to do, Arjuna was able to go in this body only to heavenly planets, right? He could do so many yagyas and tapasyas and whatnot, right? He lived in such harsh conditions in the forest and in Agyatwas. You can do all those hard things. Then how come these impurities have come upon you? You are not like an ordinary person, right? An ordinary person we can expect can have some impurities, can have some doubts. But how do these doubts come upon such an elevated person like you? These kind of doubts, they lead to infamy, meaning they lead to degradation, they lead to low condition in the life, they don't lead to higher planets. So he's chastising him. He's saying this is very important. It does not become you. Oh Arjun, it does not become you. Give up this petty weakness of the heart and arise. So he's trying to encourage Arjuna to fight. So then Arjun gives another reason. Okay. What is the other reason Arjuna gives next? In this chapter, he gives a 5th reason for not fighting. You can see in these verses. Sorry, these verses. So he says, since I am not sure what is the right thing to do, let me not do it. Since it's not very clear cut what is the right thing to do, since this is called indecision. He was in indecision. Sometimes it happens, right? We are not very sure what is the right thing to do, so let's not do the wrong thing. Let's just not do it at all. What if something wrong happens with this? Let's not do it at all. Indecision. So he says we do not know which is better. We don't know if fighting is better, conquering them, or being conquered by them. Which is better? Killing the sons of Dhritarashtra is better, or getting killed is better? I do not know. So I am confused. So then this is the landmark shloka of Bhagavad Gita that most of the kids know. This is where now Arjun surrenders to Krishna. Krishna, I am not able to decide for myself. You tell me what to do. I will follow you. I am your disciple. I am a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So a lot of times when we are in confusion, we just try to do our own will. We try to solve the situation by our own limited understanding. But this is what surrender means. To tell Krishna, Krishna, you do what is best for me. I am a very small, ordinary soul who has no idea what is good for me. You do what you think is good for me. So in this way, he says, please tell me, I am a soul surrendered unto you. I accept you as my spiritual master, and please instruct me. Who would like to recite this verse? Yes. Okay. Let's see if some newcomers will try. Would mom like to recite? I know anyway they know, but they can recite some difficult verses. This is an easier one. If mom is available, would you like to recite, or mama? Or okay. Okay, then if not, then I'm just gonna have Vedi recite. Okay, Vedi, go ahead.
Karpanyadosho pahata swabhava precchami tvam dharma samudacheta yachreyashan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam.
Very bold. He says Karpanya
Very
dosho. Karpanya dosho means Karpanya means misery, miserly. कार्पण्य होते हैं जो माइजरली लोग होते हैं जो कुछ भी खर्च नहीं करते कुछ they're very miserly with everything they have. So he said I have developed this miserly weakness. कार्पण्य दोष आ गया है मुझ में. कार्पण्य दोषो पहाता स्वभावा पृच्छामि त्वाम धर्म. आप मुझे बताओ what is the dharma. I'm asking you what is dharma. पृच्छामि त्वाम धर्म. Sammud cheta. My mind is sammud, bewildered. Huh? So I'm taking your shelter. Tachryayantam. Right? I'm taking your shelter. And you tell me what to do. And then he says in this verse, if you see, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of the enemies, right? This chastiser of the enemies means that he is not scared of his enemies. He's not doing this out of fear. But what he is doing is out of all the reasons that we just discussed. And he told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. So in this verse, he finally put down his Gandiva and he says that I will not, Govinda, I shall not fight. So you can see every time a name has been used for Krishna or Arjun, like in this verse, the name Rishikesh is used for Krishna, the master of senses. Gudakesh is used for Arjun, who is the master of ignorance. Okay, but you can see how ignorance has come upon him. Every time a name has been used, has a significance in Bhagavad Gita. You know, it's not like our names may not have any significance, but when the names are used for Krishna or for devotees of the Lord, they have a huge significance. So when we call Krishna Rishikesh, that means he's the master of the senses. So Arjun is saying, my senses are completely bewildered. You are the master of senses. You tell me what to do. And even though his name is Gudakesha, right, he's the master of ignorance. He's going into this this ignorant mood where he does not know what to do. So that is so far. Now Arjuna has surrendered. Okay, let's see a little bit more. So then Krishna starts giving him this knowledge. Okay, this is Karpanya dosha that you all recited. Arjuna's indecision and surrender to Krishna. Now Krishna starts giving him the knowledge of something called Sankhya Yoga. Okay, Sankhya Yoga basically means knowledge of the soul. So Krishna starts from the very beginning. He's not just telling him to fight. He's telling him who he is. First of all, you have to understand who you are before you do an act, right? Why you are doing an act and what act you are doing, it comes later. First of all, understand who you are. When we understand who we are, that makes things very, very easy. And you will see at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjun will be able to fight this war because he will understand why he's fighting this war. His doubts will be gone, right? So Krishna starts from the analysis of body and soul. The summary of this is that Krishna teaches Arjun that you are a spirit soul. You are not this body. That right now we are an embodied soul. We have a body that you can all see, and there is a soul inside this body which is trapped inside the material body. That is called spirit soul, the jiva, the actual jiva. This material body can be harmed, can be destroyed, can be burnt, can get wet, can get dry, and can go through disease, old age, birth, and death. But the soul that is inside this body is imperishable, indestructible, eternal, cannot be touched by any material conditions. It cannot be dried up, it cannot be warmed or burnt or killed with weapons. it cannot become wet, it cannot go through death, disease, old age, or birth, right? The soul does not go through any of that. It is only the body. You see how the body is changing in this picture, how this person was a child and now became an old fellow, but the soul is inside all these people, is the same soul, right? The spirit soul is imperishable, eternal. And these are the two beautiful verses that are memory verses which tell us about the condition of the souls. And Krishna says whatever is happening around you, right, is very, very temporary. Okay, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, right, just like seasons are so temporary, similarly whatever happens to us in this body is very temporary. Okay, it is not, it has no eternal value at all. And the people that understand this knowledge do not pay much importance to these temporary changes that happen around us. They do not pay much attention, they do not focus much on these temporary conditions of the body. For example, disease. For example, death of a loved one. For example, loss of a fortune. For example, loss of a job or income, right? Those kind of things are very temporary. These things come and go. These things do not affect the jiva, the soul that is always existing. Okay, this is the knowledge Krishna is giving in of Sankhya Yoga in these verses, and these verses go on till 30. So second chapter is very long, and from 11 to 30 Krishna is giving this knowledge about the body and the soul, their differences. Okay, many verses there. I don't think we can go into those because every single verse is nectarian. For example, we can ask one of the kids, which verse says that the soul cannot be burnt or cannot be harmed with a weapon, cannot get wet? You can recite and we'll keep moving then. Okay, quickly. Okay. Is Avni going to recite any today or no?
Navya wants to say.
Okay, yes, Navya.
Nenam chindanti shastani, nenam deti pavaka, nachinam kledin tapo, na sochiti marita.
Yeah. Nainam chindanti
Nice.
shastrani. The weapons cannot harm it, right? And what else? Nainam dahiti pavaka. Fire cannot burn it. And na maruta cannot shoshiti, cannot dry it. Air cannot dry it, right? Nainam shoshiti maruta. So in this way, so many verses are there. Which verse says that for the body, whoever accepts a body, there will be birth and death. Whoever accepts a body, there will be death, and whoever dies will be born again. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Huh? You want to complete it, Vedi?
Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur janmamritasya cha tasmadapariharyerti natvam shochitamarhasi.
Very bold. That for the body, whoever has accepted a body, there will be death, and once you die, then you'll take birth again. So the cycle keeps going on, and the intelligent people are not bewildered by this cycle. So this is the Sankhya Yoga. This is the initial part of second chapter, talks about Sankhya Yoga. Then from after 31st verse, Krishna starts talking about so this is a summary. Krishna is giving a little glimpse of everything in this chapter. From 31st, Krishna starts talking about Karma Yoga. Okay, so he initially talks about Sakam Karma Yoga, then he talks about Nishkam Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, so yoga basically means connecting to Krishna. Okay, yoga means connecting to the Lord, right? Anything that connects us to Lord, whether our action, if it is our action, it becomes Karma Yoga. If it is knowledge, it becomes Gyan Yoga. If it is love and devotional services, it becomes Bhakti Yoga, right? If it is meditation, it becomes Dhyan Yoga. So by whichever means we connect to Krishna, that is called Yoga. So Karma Yoga is a very initial platform where all of us can strive to be, because Karma Yoga is very, very early part of one's spiritual journey. Okay, Karma Yoga basically means to connect to Krishna through actions or through karma. Okay, we all have propensities to work. We cannot live without working, right? We want to engage our eyes in seeing, our tongue in eating or talking, our hands in picking up something or doing something with our hands, our legs in walking, right? So our body is made in such a way that it wants to work continuously, right? So that is karma, that is just karma. But any action that we do will have a reaction, will have a result. So it is best to not get a result, and it is better to just connect with everything that we have with Krishna so that it becomes karma yoga. Okay, that is called karma yoga, using your actions to connect to Krishna. Okay, that is called karma yoga. Now, sakam karma yoga basically means sakam karma. Now, this is not karma yoga. Sakam karma basically means just like most of the people work. They work just for their own enjoyment, for their own satisfaction, so that when we work, we will get money. That money, we can buy things, we can buy a house, we can live opulently, we can travel, we can buy things, or we can give it to our family members, whatever. So that is all for enjoyment. When we are working, so that the fruit of that work is giving us enjoyment, that is sakam karma. 99.99% are people are on this platform where they're just doing their duties for their own enjoyment or for their own benefit. Okay, some may not be doing it for money, some may be doing it for name, fame, or for a title, or for some appreciation, right? That is also personal enjoyment, right? So that is sakam karma. Then Krishna talks about Nishkam Karma. So Nishkam Karma means where the person is working, because we have the propensity to work, so we are working, but we are working with detachment. Okay, we are not attached to the fruit of our work. That is called detached work. Okay, so I am doing my duty, I'm going to my job. Okay, a devotee also goes to their job, but they go with a different consciousness. Their consciousness is that my job is given to me as a service by Krishna, and whatever results come, I will give it in service of Krishna. Okay, that is actually Nishkam Karma Yoga. So that actually that can connect us to Krishna, Nishkam Karma Yoga, detached work. So Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, in this portion, Krishna says that we have a lot of propensities and material desires. We have our senses that like to do a lot of things. So instead of giving up any work, instead of giving up our senses, instead of saying that I will not see, I will just close my eyes and sit like this, or instead of, or I want to talk, so I should control my senses, I will not talk. He says, speak, but use that speech for the service of Krishna. See, but use your vision for the service of Krishna. Walk, but walk for the service of Krishna. Use your hands, but for the service of the Lord. When you do everything that you have been given, every resource that you have been given in the service of Krishna, it becomes Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga. All the actions, all the work that you have been given is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Now, I'm not talking about Bhakti Yoga yet, so we will not confuse with that just yet, because the consciousness of a person in Bhakti Yoga is very different from that of the Nishkam Karma Yoga. In Nishkam Karma Yoga, the person is doing work with detachment, but he's still attached to the work, and he is just purifying himself. He's just purifying his propensity to work, and he's purifying his propensity for material desires. Okay, that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So is this clear so far? Because the Karma Yoga concept can be a little bit confusing.
I'm confused a little bit.
Sure, it is, Mataji, it is confusing, but don't worry about it. Just try to understand as much as you can, and hopefully it will get clear as you keep hearing. Okay. Basically, all that you need to understand for now is that karma, typically what we do is karma. Every action that we do has a reaction. But when we do karma yoga, we are connecting that action to Krishna, so it does not give us a reaction. The reactions in this world bind us, so that we have to keep accepting body, keep coming back to this cycle of birth and death. We get entangled in this world when we do just karma. but for our own enjoyment. But when we do karma yoga, when we do our actions for the service of Krishna, they do not have any reaction, they do not bind us, and they free us from this material world. That is all just that needs to be.
So my question is, like, let's say we are going to work, just like you said, because we work because we have to live, buy, besides basic things, buy extra stuff. So that working is considered karma, but Nishkam karma will be like when you're serving people, right?
If
That's
you're
what I'm
in,
confused.
yes, Mataji. So there are many layers in Karma Yoga. I will not go into those layers because that will confuse you more. The main thing is when your intention matters. If the intention is to just earn money, to use that money to feed your family and feed yourself and to just enjoy life, जैसे हम कल बात कर रहे थे, खाओ पियो ऐश करो मित्रों, है ना, काम करते रहो,
Mm-hmm.
and because I'll get some name, I'll get promotions, I'll get my picture will be displayed in a hall or something, some kind of um, gratification we are expecting from a job, from a work, then that is for our own personal enjoyment, personal sense gratification. That gives us reaction, that binds us. So it will
Okay.
take us a while to come back to that platform where we are doing everything for Krishna. But what we can do is when we do our work, we do that work as a service. That, okay, like for example, I'm a physician, I will serve these jivas as part and parcel of Krishna. They are also part and parcel of Krishna. Paramatma also resides in them, right? If I do my
Mm-hmm.
best service to them, Krishna will be pleased. Okay, I'm not doing it for money, right? That should be my intention. Okay, I'm not doing it for money, I'm doing it as a service to Krishna, that I have to, if this person gets cured of this disease, he can advance spiritually more, right? Because right now he's diseased, he's worrying about it, he's not able to live a spiritually enhanced life. So right, so let me fix his problem so that he can also advance towards Krishna. So if I have a mood like this, right, I will be less likely to get entangled and get reactions in this world, right? So the things that we do in our daily life, for example, you eat, everybody eats, right? But most of the people are eating for their own taste or for their own sense gratification, right? So they will eat everything and whatever is available. But Krishna conscious people or devotees will typically first offer to the Lord, because we will not accept anything that Lord has not first accepted, right? And then accept it. So that the food itself, everybody is eating, but their food is becoming prashadam, it is becoming spiritual. Okay. This applies to everything, right? Everybody's raising kids, but then you see our kids here, that we are trying to connect them to Krishna. So we don't look at kids as, oh, these kids will take care of me in my old age, that's why I want to bring them up nicely, or they will make money for me when they grow up, or they will bring me name and fame. Look, your son, so and so's son, people like to boast about their kid, has become this and this person, huge position and power they have, so I can boast about it. That's not why I'm bringing them up. I'm bringing them up because this kid was given as a gift to me by Krishna. He's my dependent. Every soul, these are souls, these are jivas, they're my dependents. They are also entangled in this world like me, and it is my duty to connect them to Krishna as well. So I must give them some spiritual knowledge, I must raise them to become Krishna conscious kids. So the motivation, the intention of a person who knows the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is very different from the things that motivate rest of the people in this world. So slowly and slowly we can start purifying our intentions and our desires, where we start disconnecting more from the material desires and attaching ourselves more to Krishna. Okay? That is the very basic understanding of this. So any karma can become karma yoga when you bring Krishna in it. So you spiritualize every act by bringing Krishna in it. So yoga means connecting to the Lord. So with everything you can connect to the Lord. Slowly you start seeing Krishna's presence in everything. But we are very contaminated right now, so it takes a while to be able to see Krishna in everything. We are very bodily conscious, we are not Krishna conscious, we are very materially conscious. So from the journey from bodily conscious to Krishna conscious will take the whole length and breadth of Bhagavad Gita at least, and then applying this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in our life as well. So that is second chapter. He gives the knowledge of Karma Yoga, and then Krishna encourages Arjun through all this. He says, if you are working on the platform of Sankhya Yoga, where you are saying that we are just the soul, not the body, then also you should fight, because you are not actually killing these people, right? You're just killing this offensive body that they have received, which is acting against dharma, right? You're freeing these jivas from committing any more offenses that they keep committing, or any more atrocities that they keep committing, right? So on that level also you should fight. If you're working on the platform of sakam karma, where you just want to enjoy, right, even then you should fight, because if you fight, then you will get heavenly planets, because you did your prescribed duty as a kshatriya, killing these offensive people. You by doing your duty, you will get heavenly planets, so you will enjoy. Even if you die, you will enjoy heavenly planets. And if you won, then you will rule this kingdom, so you will enjoy. This is sakam karma, right? This is platform of sakam karma, doing something for my gratification. So that is also, then also you should fight. If you are working on the platform of nishkam karma yoga, detached work, then also you should fight, because it is your kshatriya duty to fight according to the scriptures, and you do it as a service to me. Mam anusmara yuddhishcha, remembering me you fight, right? Mai sarvani karmani, right? That do all your work for me. So even if you're doing this work for me on a Nishkam Karma Yoga platform, even then you should fight. So by any logic Arjun gave, Krishna is cutting out all those logics, right? If your logic is Sankhya Yoga, he cut it by that. If your logic is Sakam Karma, that I cannot enjoy, he cut that. If your logic is Nishkam Karma Yoga, he cut that also. So on various levels, he's giving a reason why you should fight. So Krishna is really just convincing Arjun why you should fight. Yes, Vedi, you have a question?
So, in relation to like the karma, vikarma, and akarma, Nishkam Karma Yoga is none of those, right? Because there's no reaction coming.
Yes. So remember,
Okay.
Nishkam Karma Yoga is still a lower platform. Okay, so we have moved on in our knowledge of Bhagavad Gita so high that we don't talk about even Nishkam Karma Yoga anymore.
Yeah.
But we are talking about a karma where all the actions are done for the service of Krishna, right? A karma. So in Nishkam Karma Yoga, the flaw is, I'll tell you the flaw. The flaw is that a person is still attached to the type of work, and they're not giving up all the fruits of their work to Krishna. Some fruits they still keep. So they still they are not completely surrendered or completely detached from the material world. So Nishkam Karma Yoga is not the highest platform, but it is a beginning. It is a beginning where we should be, right? At least we should move from Sakam Karma to Nishkam Karma Yoga, where we are not just doing everything for ourselves. We do certain aspects of our work for Krishna. Even if we are attached to work, like right now I'm attached to my work, right? I'm doing my professional work, which I'm attached to. So at least even if I'm attached to that work, I can use some part of that work for the service of Krishna. So that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So right now this platform is a still low platform, but it is better than being on just the level of sense enjoyment.
Okay.
So then the end of this chapter from 2.59, actually 2.54 onwards, Krishna starts listing the qualities of sthit pragya. What is a sthit pragya? Sthit pragya basically means someone who is very steady intelligence. Okay, so steady intelligence is a person who is not distracted by this material world. So in this material world, there will be sukha and dukha, there will be femi and infemi, right? There will be happiness, distress, there will be um, win and loss, right? So many things, misfortune, so many things will come and go, right? But sthit pragya is a man of steady intelligence who is not deviated by the dualities of this world. He knows that the dualities of this world are temporary, and he does not give in to them. Okay, that is one quality of a sthit pragya. Krishna lists many qualities. Other qualities are he has a very good control of his senses and mind. Okay, so remember that control of senses is the very basic thing that we can all practice. right? But sthit pragya is somebody who's very advanced in their control of senses and mind. Okay, control of senses leads to control of mind, and control of mind will lead to that your intelligence will be developed also. So we should try to control our senses. How can we control our senses? Just like I said, by eating, not by overeating, by eating food that is offered to the Lord, by avoiding certain things, for example, avoiding meat, or like we try to avoid foods that are in mode of ignorance, like onion, garlic, and other foods that are in mode of ignorance, right? So what you are feeding, putting in your body, that matters. So by controlling your senses means what you are eating, what you are hearing, right? What you are speaking, what you are listening, whatever, where you are going, right? Are you going to a pub, or are you going to a Jagannath Rath Yatra? Are you going to, what are you using your hands for? Are you using your hands to light a lamp for the Lord? Or are you using your hands to, for gambling, to serve poker chips? What are you using your senses for? Everything matters, right? What we are doing with our body. So control of senses basically means controlling this body, right? So these Sthit Pragya has a very controlled senses, controlled mind. Okay, their mind does not get distracted everywhere, right? So every jiva gets so many unlimited desires every day. I should do this, I should do that. But a Sthit Pragya knows that we should not respond to every single thought that comes into our mind, right? Because that leads to so many mental problems, right? So we should just respond to the desires that are spiritually elevating, that will connect us to Krishna. Let's respond to those desires. For example, right now sitting here, I get a desire, oh, I want to eat gulab jamun, right? So I'll start running here and there looking for gulab jamun, and then I'll be wasting so much time, and ultimately to what benefit? It is not much beneficial. So you ignore such desires that are not very, that are frivolous desires, that are not very beneficial, either to, not even to your body, and forget to the soul. So a Sthit Pragya will cater more to the spiritual desires. Like Rekha Mataji had the desire, I should go to this Rath Yatra, right? Even though she had to travel so far, you're using up your time, your body, your resources, so wisely to in a spiritual task. So that has no reaction, right? There is no reaction at all. So that is what a Sthit Pragya does. They cater to those desires that are spiritually uplifting, and kind of ignores the desires that this body has. Okay, those are some of the qualities of a Sthit Pragya, of a man of steady intelligence, right? Somebody tells you, okay, let's go watch a movie for 3 hours, right? Versus let's read Srimad Bhagavatam for 1 hour. So a man of steady intelligence will know 3 hours, wasting 3 hours of my precious human life in watching a movie versus reading Srimad Bhagavatam for 1 hour. It is very, very clear that I should read Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So that is the,
That's right.
yeah. So you cater to those desires that are fulfilling your soul and connecting you to Krishna, and kind of ignore those desires that are not very valuable. They're just wasting your time and wasting your energy and resources, and not very beneficial either to this body, and definitely not to the soul. So ignore those desires. So he kind of filters them, right? So those are many, there are many, many qualities of Sthit Pragya given. Some of the beautiful verses towards the end of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita talk about how if we don't control our mind and senses, then we start focusing on something. Let's say I start focusing on gulab jamun. I keep focusing on it so much that I have a very strong urge now. I have a lust now. Lust means an, जिसको हम वासना बोलते हैं हिंदी में, but it does not only refer to sexual desires, it refers to any kind of intense material desire. I have a lust to eat gulab jamun, let's say. So that kind of desire grows so much that it becomes lust, and when that lust goes unfulfilled, it leads to anger, right? So Krishna gives these beautiful verses that if you focus too much on something, then that unfulfilled desire will give rise to anger. Anger will cause illusion. In that illusion, you will develop madness of mind, and you will forget what you are doing, right? Sammoha ho jayega, and your intelligence will be lost. So the whole chain of events will start, where just by controlling your desires, your senses, you could have curbed certain unwanted desires, but now you focused on it too much that it has become anger, it has become illusion, and it has destroyed your intelligence. And then he also says that actually What is that next verse? Yeah, krodhat bhakti sammoha, right? That is the verse. Yes. Okay. So in this way, he says that that a man of steady intelligence knows what, which activities to focus on, and those activities that are considered good or compared to daytime by the spiritual people may be considered very dark or very horrible by the materialistic people. So what is daytime for spiritual people is nighttime for materialistic people. What that means is that if you ask a materialistic person to go to temple, he may consider that a waste of time, but that is a very valuable activity for a spiritual person. If you ask somebody like that to read Bhagavad Gita, he may consider it a waste of time. So those activities that are very, very vital for our spiritual life may be considered very, very um, uh, horrible by the materialistic people. They may not agree to doing those things, right? So ya nisha sarva bhutanam, who knows this verse? Tasyam jagrati samyami, that what is considered day, night by the living entities, at that time the spiritual people are very awake. So for example, in the early morning time, if you ask a normal person, wake up at 4 o'clock and chant the names of the Lord, he will consider it, they'll laugh at you, right? We are not going to wake up at 4 o'clock and chant the names of the Lord, they'll laugh at you. But a spiritually anxious person understands that this is the most important time of the day where you should get up and focus on the names of the Lord and to connect to the Lord better, right? So that is where Krishna finishes the second chapter, controlling your senses, your intelligence, your mind, being a man of steady intelligence, not responding to the dualities of this world, and become a sthit pragya. And who are you? He says you are soul, you are not this body. So don't be distracted by the body so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the nice summary of the chapters. I think second chapter is actually very big, so it was very nicely summarized, Natasha. And yeah, we'll go ahead
Yeah.
to with the next part, last part of our program. Every class, what we do is at the end, we chant the names of the Lord 108 times, and we use this mala, jap mala. If you don't have, we can get one next time we'll meet. We'll give you one or find one for you. You can even
Okay.
get it on Amazon. Actually, it's very easy to get nowadays. So this is a japa mala. The top of this
Okay.
is called as the Krishna bead. The one